Under the scorching heat of Namibia's Etosha National Park, a fierce lioness named Zara prowled through the golden grasslands, her heart pounding with urgency. Her cub, Tano, once full of playful energy, now lay limp and helpless in the dust. Just hours ago, he had been chasing a butterfly, his tiny paws kicking up soft dirt, when disaster struck. He had stumbled into a hidden burrow, twisting his leg upon impact. His agonized cries had pierced the silence of the savannah, sending Zara into a frantic search. Now, his body trembled from exhaustion, and the scent of his weakness was already attracting danger. Shadows slithered through the tall grass. Hyenas had caught the scent. Their chilling cackles echoed in the distance, inching closer. Zara's golden eyes flickered with desperation. She could fight, but alone, even she couldn't fend them off forever. Her instincts screamed to hide, to protect, yet a mother's love burned hotter than fear. Then, she did something unheard of. She turned away from the wild, carrying Tano toward an unknown hope, the humans. The very beings she had learned to fear, she now saw as his only chance. The journey would be perilous. The unknown loomed ahead, but Zara would face any danger, break every rule, if it meant saving her son. With each step, Zara's powerful muscles trembled, not from exhaustion, but from the weight of the impossible choice she had made. Carrying Tano in her jaws, she moved through the endless savannah, the scent of humans growing stronger in the wind. It was unnatural, unthinkable, a lioness seeking out the very creatures she had been taught to fear. But time was slipping away, and her cub's shallow breaths were a cruel reminder that waiting meant death. Behind her, the wilderness lurked like a silent predator. Hyenas had begun to track them, their piercing howls creeping closer, their hungry eyes locked onto her vulnerable cub. Zara picked up her pace, ignoring the burning ache in her limbs. Ahead, the scent of gasoline and steel cut through the air. The humans were near. A rumble in the distance. Engines, voices, movement. She had found them. As the ranger's jeep rounded a bend, Zara emerged from the tall grass, her golden fur glistening under the scorching sun. The men froze. Their hands instinctively reached for their weapons. Then, something happened that no one could have expected. She lowered Tano onto the dusty ground, gently, carefully, before stepping back. Her fierce amber eyes locked onto theirs, not in warning, but in silent desperation. The unthinkable had happened. A lioness was asking humans for help. The air was thick with tension as Daniel knelt beside the injured cub, his heart pounding like a drum. Every movement had to be precise, deliberate. Any sudden gesture could send the mother lion into a protective rage. Naya stood just feet away, muscles coiled, eyes locked onto him with an intensity that made his skin prickle. One wrong move, and she could unleash her fury in an instant. With a slow breath, Daniel extended his hand, gently brushing against Tano's swollen leg. The cub flinched but did not cry out. A low growl rumbled from Nia's throat, deep and warning, but she did not attack. Instead, she watched. Her gaze, fierce yet filled with something unexplainable, trust, hope, desperation, was unlike anything Daniel had ever seen. His team moved cautiously, their hands steady as they cleaned the wound, applying antiseptic to prevent infection. Tano whimpered, his tiny body trembling, but his mother did not intervene. Instead, she let out a deep, guttural sigh, a sound of understanding, of surrender. For a moment, time stood still. A wild predator had placed her faith in humans, an unspoken agreement between species that defied the laws of nature. In that moment, Daniel realized, this was not just survival, this was something much greater. The tension in the air was palpable as Daniel knelt beside the fragile cub, the weight of the moment pressing down on him like the unforgiving sun above. Zara, the fierce lioness, stood just feet away, her muscles taut, her amber eyes burning with both fear and hope. Any wrong movement could shatter the fragile trust hanging in the air, turning desperation into devastation. But Daniel knew he couldn't hesitate. This was no ordinary encounter. This was a silent plea from the wild, a bridge between predator and protector. He reached out, his hands steady despite his racing heart, and carefully examined Tano's swollen leg. The cub flinched but made no sound. Zara's throat rumbled with a low warning growl, but she did not strike. Instead, she stood firm, her piercing gaze watching his every movement, gauging his intent. The other rangers moved cautiously, their breaths held as they cleaned the wound, applying antiseptic. Tano whimpered softly, his tiny body trembling. But Zara, she did not move. Instead, she let out a deep guttural sigh, one of understanding, of surrender. For a fleeting moment, the wild and the human world became one. A lioness, driven by love, had placed her faith in the very creatures she had been taught to fear. And in that moment, Daniel understood. This was more than survival. This was trust, a connection that defied instinct, a rare and powerful acknowledgement that sometimes even nature must bend to compassion. The story of Zara and Tano spread far beyond the plains of Namibia's Etosha National Park, whispered among villagers, shared by rangers, and eventually making its way to wildlife conservationists around the world. It was a tale unlike any other. A wild predator, a mother lioness, had defied every instinct to seek human help, placing her cub's life in the hands of those she should have feared. The rangers who witnessed it firsthand would never forget the look in Zara's amber eyes, that silent plea, that unspoken trust. It was a moment that redefined the relationship between humans and the wild. News outlets picked up the astonishing story, and videos captured by the rangers spread across the internet like wildfire. People were mesmerized, unable to believe that a creature so fierce and untamed could display such profound intelligence and emotion. Conservation groups hailed it as a testament to the deep connections animals share with their offspring and the undeniable bridge between species when compassion overcomes fear. But the legend did not end there. Rangers reported sightings of Zara and Tano thriving in the wild, the young cub now stronger, running beside his mother once more. Some say Zara would occasionally appear near the ranger station, not in need, but as if acknowledging those who once saved her son. A mother's love had rewritten the rules of nature, and the world would never forget. This story is a reminder that every life is worth protecting. If you found it inspiring, follow my channel for more incredible wildlife stories.